What was up with that? Anytime that we wanted to act or to make a move or a counter ambush on them, they would already know about it. And what was even worse, they didn't follow the rules the way that we have to. And what were they doing? They were using a ton of ammunition, a ton of automatic weapons, and there were many more of them than there were of us.
As we'd find out years after the war, many of these original Zeta leaders reportedly received training in commando and urban warfare from Israeli and U.S. Special Forces, some of them at the School of the Americas in Fort Benning, Georgia, infamous for having trained Latin American militias and militaries throughout the decades in advanced torture techniques.
Everything the Bezetas learned, they learned from foreigners. All of the things Bezetas learned, like the guerrilla warfare stuff. I don't know exactly in what other countries they learned things from, but much of what they learned in the United States. Everything that was professional, they learned in the United States. Because at that time, the Gafes, the commanders, were sent to learn at the School of the Americas. They sent them to train with the Rangers and train with the Navy SEALs. In what? I can't say exactly.
The fact that a group as bloody and murderous as the Zetas was born out of the School of the Americas is just one of the many examples throughout history. The Zetas were the first criminal organization in Mexico to operate more like a terrorist group than a drug cartel. In fact, most of their criminal enterprises did not involve trafficking drugs into the United States. They simply taxed other drug traffickers and then killed them and their families if they refused to pay.
That's one of the ways that they operated. They would come wanting to make alliances, but if other groups refused, they would take it by force and violence. You know what they would do? They would arrive at a place and tell the vendors and dealers who had been there for a while and who had customers that they worked for them now. And if they refused, the Zetas would kill them.
They were also heavily involved in stealing oil from the Pemex oil